Hello and welcome to BrushUp Tasks training video. BrushUp involves ensuring alignment, coloring, and consistency across slides, no change of structure or adding elements. Since BrushUp is our most standard task and its principles are also applied in other tasks such as visual enhancement, recreation, and partly light BrushUp, every designer needs to be familiar with the BrushUp and needs to excel in this discipline. If you would like to learn more about differences between regular BrushUp and light BrushUp, please watch our light BrushUp video, which link you can find in the description below this video. Now let's talk about which actions we need to take when we are brushing up the slides. First of all, we need to fix slides to correct template and layout. Then we make sure all titles, subtitles, footers, trackers, logos, page numbers are in the correct placement. We fit contents to slide frame, fix colors to client's color palette, fix font types and font sizes. We keep or fix animations and transitions. We convert graphs either to Thinxel or Microsoft Chart based on client's guidelines, and we make sure that graph follows client style. We make sure that slides are keeping consistency from slide to slide. We fix any jumpings and alignments from slide to slide. And we make sure the slide design fits within the company style. Well brushed up presentation has to follow all of these attributes. Now let's look at example of input and output of a BrushUp task. On the left side, we see input of slide that client could submit to us, and on the right side, we see output of the slide after the BrushUp was conducted. Of course, BrushUp result always depends on client's guidelines and style. In this example, we work with our No More template and guidelines to be able to showcase you how brushed up result could look. You always need to work with guidelines and template that is part of your task. In this output example, we can notice that the slide follows all the characteristics mentioned in the previous slide. So this slide is very clean, well aligned, and brushed up according to all clients' guidelines. Here we can take a look on the second example that follows the same guidelines, and as well third example that is brushed up in the same style. So in the previous slides we could see that each separate slide was very well brushed up and very clean, but we know that brush up also ensures consistency across the whole presentation. Let's take a look at what we understand as consistency from slide to slide. First, let's focus on the title area. As you can see in the input, the title is very inconsistent throughout the slides. It has different font size, font type, and location. The same goes for the tracker. In our output, all of these inconsistencies were brushed up, so the title and tracker are both in the same location and have the same formatting throughout. Second area is the slide frame area. In this area, we are searching for consistent slide frame throughout the slides, then no jumpings in headings, they should be very consistent, optimally same height of the heading and same exact location so they don't go up and down when we go from one slide to next one. And generally all the guidelines rules should be applied consistently throughout the slides, so the coloring should be consistent, bullet points, and all of these other details. So as you can see in the input, client's file was very messy in the slide frame area and did not follow any consistent rules throughout. On the other hand, our output is very consistent. The last area is the footer area, where we have located usually footnote and slide number, sometimes some other elements such as legend, so we again want to manage consistency of all of these elements throughout the slides. So every well brushed up file needs to be consistent across all slides. Now let's talk about presentation mode check. After brushing up your slides, we highly recommend to do final check in presentation mode to double check on your alignments and consistency of elements in the individual slides and also throughout the whole presentation. Now I will show you how our admins apply presentation mode check by focusing on only one specific area at a time. This process might seem a little bit time consuming, but once you get used to it, you can go through the slides really fast just by clicking on the keyboard arrows and flipping through the slides really quickly. First, we will focus on separate slides and check consistency within the slide. So this is our first slide and I can already spot the mistake. Here is the misalignment of the boxes. I fixed the mistake and now I can move to another slide because I can't see any other mistake in this slide. When I'm going from one slide to another, I check if I can see any jumpings. The first thing you want to focus on is headings. Just to make sure, I will check the height of the heading to ensure that they are consistent height throughout the whole file. This heading has 1.01 centimeters height. Let's check the heading on the first slide, which is equal 1 centimeter. And I will right away check our third slide, which has this heading. And that heading has another height, 1.06 centimeters. So I will have to ensure consistency between all of these headings, and I will make them all 1 centimeter and make sure that they are aligned to the same position so they do not jump from slide to slide. Now all of our headings are consistent when I'm flipping from one slide to another. Now let's take a deep look at slide 2 and see if we can find any inconsistency. And we can spot the bullet points. So we need to adjust also these bullet points into the guideline style. Now our slide 2 is fully consistent and we can go to next slide, slide 3. When we are doing this check on each slide, we are really checking all the alignment, slide frame consistency, spacing, any coloring inconsistencies, and any small details that we could have missed while working on the slides. This slide has one mistake, which is this tiny misalignment in this area. Now we fix this misalignment, and this concludes our presentation mode check in the slide frame area. Now we will move into the title area. When working with the title area, the flipping through the slides is really fast because we just really need to see if all the titles are in the same position and have same font size and font type. So I focus my eyes only on the title and I'm flipping through the slides. And I could very clearly see that slide 2 is not following the same font size and location as the other 2 slides. So I simply go to the slide and fix this issue. Now I just check my title and flip through the slides and all is very consistent. Since this specific slide has also tracker, I will do the same with the tracker and I will just see if the tracker is consistent throughout the slides. And it is very consistent. There is just one issue that I could spot, and that is that this part of the tracker has different color than the rest. Therefore, we will adjust this inconsistency. Now our tracker is consistent throughout all the slides. Now we will do the same in the footer area, and first we will focus only on this footnote part. This is slide 1. Slide 2 has no footer, and slide 3 has again footer. That seems to be very consistent with the footer in slide 1. So all is good in this part. Now we will give our focus to the slide numbers. So we again flip through the slides and we can see that slide number 17 in this case is missing the slide number. So we simply copy it from the previous slide and paste it on this slide and make sure that the formatting is the same. So again, we edit the slide number and all is good. So this presentation mode check really allows us to see these details because nothing jumps unless there is some mistake, and we can more easily see if anything is missing or something is inconsistent. Now we will talk about a few more things to be aware of when brushing up a slide. Every time review the slide so you can get a general understanding of the slide's meaning, logic of how elements should be placed, and as well the hierarchy of texts and boxes. Even though in BrushUp we do not change the structure as in visual enhancement, we are still organizing the slide in the most suitable way to create clean and easy to understand structure. And finally, remember that people normally read from left to right or from the top to bottom, so the content should be structured as well in the way that follows this logic. Lastly, we will provide you with 2 checklists. First checklist will contain what to check on each separate slide. These are the questions you should ask yourself when you are final checking the slides. Question number 1. Are you using correct template and layout? 2. Are you following client style? 3. Is alignment to the slide frame pixel perfect? 4. Are shapes and other elements aligned well? 5. Is there equal spacing between all shapes? We mean horizontal and vertical. 6. Are text box margins following client's guidelines? Also remember that as a good practice, all text boxes should be set to do not out of fit setting as well so they do not resize when text is edited. 7. Are font sizes big enough or readable? If font size turns out to be too small, ask the admin if we can split the slide into multiple slides or extend the slide frame area. Text always needs to be readable, and we recommend for most decks 12 to 14 points and minimum 10 points, but this depends on the slide size. 8. Is the correct font type and consistent font size used? Remember the general rule is one slide should be equal to just one font size, maximum 2 font sizes in the slide frame area, unless client's guidelines say otherwise. Also please note that ideally we would have one font size or maximum 2 consistent font sizes for the whole deck. Of course, we are still talking about the slide frame area. Question number 9. Are colors applied according to guidelines? We mean colors of shapes, icons, text, and all other elements. 10. Are bullet point style and settings applied as per guidelines? 11. Are slides following all the detailed guidelines? It might be icon style, graph rules, table formatting, or any other detailed guidelines. 12. Are slides easy to edit if clients need to apply changes by themselves? 13. Is the content unchanged and checked by Content Checker tool? Remember that we never change or fix content. Content must stay the same as per input. And last question 14. Are there any animations, transitions, speaker's notes, or client's PowerPoint comments that we should keep as per input? This includes all the points you should check on separate slides. Now let's talk about checklist number 2. Don't worry, this checklist is shorter and is talking about what to check across all the slides. So remember to ask yourself these questions. Question number 1. Are all slides placeholders, such as titles, subtitles, footers, slide numbers, placed and formatted the same across the presentation? 2. Is slide frame consistent throughout the slides? 3. Are headings consistent and non-jumping throughout the slides? 4. If there are some repeated structure slides in the presentation, are they consistent? 5. Is the use of colors consistent throughout the presentation? 6. Do icons have the same exact style across the whole deck? 7. Do slides have consistent usage of uppercase versus sentence case? Check which style is used in the guidelines or confirm with your admin. 8. Are there any other elements throughout the slides that require consistency check? This might be trackers, legends, or other elements. And final point 9. Is language in the file set correctly according to guidelines or currently used language in the slides? You can simply set the correct language for the whole deck just by one click. When you go to this language setting, you select the correct language that should be applied, and then you click on all text, and after that on OK button. This will set the language to the all text in the whole file. And that was all for our checklists and as well for our video. Thank you very much for watching, and we hope this will allow you to rock your brush up tasks. See you on the platform.